Volume is king at the running back position. We know that. You can bank on it. It's what can win you a league. But talent is so important. And for me, Rachaad White last year, he got insane amounts of volume. He had a fantastic fantasy season. But I'm not sure how much value he was actually adding rather than just the putting up numbers because of the pure volume. He's currently going as the RB15. You can see he's a 39th overall pick on Sleeper. Tom, I know you're not the biggest Rachaad White fan, but is there any world where you can see yourself drafting him in the 4th round of drafts?
So I've really liked Rachaad White over the last couple of years at times because his price has always been quite palatable for what you're expecting out of him. We know that he's woefully inefficient, but now we have to kind of weigh things up. Last year, he had the 6th highest opportunity share among running backs. He had 72% opportunity share, which is massive. But he was woefully inefficient on it. He had 3.6 yards per carry. Part of that was the offensive line wasn't particularly good. You know, they had, was it Ryan Jensen, who had to retire immediately before the season due to a gruesome knee injury. And they do seem to have made some strides in upgrading the interior offensive line. But this is a player who was 3rd bottom in rushing EPA, 37th in rush yards after contact, 30th in rush yards before contact, 29th in big runs. So even when he got loose, he wasn't turning it into massive plays. He only had 4 games over 80 rushing yards last year. Bucky Irving is just the kind of decent complement to this backfield. And I don't think that Rachaad White has any kind of leeway that if Bucky Irving starts eating into Rachaad's work a tiny bit, taking more than, and it knocks him down to, say, a 60% opportunity share or a 55% opportunity share, that'll be disastrous for Rachaad White's fantasy value, and he'll become even more reliant on catching checkdowns.
Yeah, I really like the Bucky Irving edition. I think I've been on record as saying I think if Bucky Irving had run a different 40-yard dash, I think he would have been a day 2 pick. Like, I think Bucky Irving is a very good back. I think he's a competent complement to Rachaad White, and I think there is a world where he could easily in some of the higher value touches in the passing game, in the screen game, that Rachaad White has, buoyed his fantasy production over the past few years. But I also think that there's a world, maybe I'm a bit of a Bucks hater, but there's a world where the Bucks could disappoint this year. They threaded the needle last year. They played high variance on defense. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans seemed to have that magic connection last year, but it was very risky. There were plenty of opportunities where it could have gone the other way. And the Bucks have basically said, let's just bring everybody back and we'll go for it again. And that always concerns me in the NFL because I think if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. And there is a world where Baker Mayfield doesn't have the lucky, efficient season that he had last year with Dave Canales. Mike Evans starts to show signs of age. If this offense starts to regress slightly, suddenly Rachaad White isn't seeing so many touches in and around the red zone, suddenly isn't seeing the raw volume of rushing attempts. And he could just be a volume-based RB2 that you've had to pay fringe RB1 prices to acquire. So for me, I don't believe he is a supremely talented back. And at this sort of price, I need to see the talent. I can't just say he's going to get 15 to 20 touches a game, and that's the reason I'm going to draft him there. If you are here, though, and you've not hit that subscribe button, we're ever so close to 3,000. Do us a solid. Help us get there right now. Hit that subscribe, and you will not regret it.